Hey, this is my video review for the book Angela's Ashes, and I just want to thank you, Mrs. Kaminsky, for showing us this book because I really enjoyed this story more than all the other stories that we've read through the past. I feel like it taught me a lot about, I guess, the culture, you could say, and the hardships that people went through in the Depression. So, I'm going to start talking a little bit about how I felt about this story. So, I'll start off by talking about the culture. I like how he described the people by how they read poems. They read poems a lot. They sang a lot of songs, especially Frank's father. He sang a lot of songs when he got drunk, and they all seemed to come from Ireland. Their food there, they ate a lot of potatoes, drank a lot of tea, and bread. So that must be a huge part in Ireland. I liked their culture is also a lot like the family life in America. Back then you had to start working at an early age to get whatever you needed to survive, basically, for food and take care of your family. The family life then, every adult seemed to be very strict and very stubborn, which a lot's like that here in America, but I don't think most of the Irish knew that. Which I didn't in the story understand was that some didn't like their own family members, but were still willing to help them out, which I like that a lot. Back in that story, fathers always seemed to be drunks. Well, mainly all the men were drinking, which surprised me actually, because back here, I guess, not all guys seem to drink, but back there it's a tradition that when you turn 16, you have your first pint, and I thought that was very interesting. Religion played a huge role in this book, and I guess that Ireland, or maybe just South Ireland, they seem to be very, very, very religious. And I found interesting also that they base every single thing that they do in their life, that would it be okay in heaven, and whether you'd be damned or doomed to go to hell. And it didn't seem like anything that they did, it could have been, I don't know, whether it'd be alright to do it or not. This story, makes me very grateful for what I have. Like, I saw when he was poor, I try to picture myself in those type of situations, and it was really, really, really hard to do so. And it seems like most people take what they have for granted, but in this story it really shows that every little thing he got, he was appreciative, which I like that. This is what I liked from how Frank McCourt wrote the book. I liked how he showed when he was younger and how naive he was, and throughout the book you could see how when he came into his teens, you could tell his knowledge of things became so strong. They progressed. He knew a lot more about that, and you could just tell throughout the story that his knowledge was great. Yeah. Also, in the culture, I noticed that there was a lot of racism in South Ireland. They hate the North, which I don't understand, and they hate Americans. They called them the Yanks. And I guess the British, they hated the British. Teachers seem to have enjoyment out of embarrassing their students, which is different from America. It's very, very disciplinary. I don't know how the proper word for that, but America has it easy. Teachers don't hit their kids with sticks if they do something very, very small and a mistake. And that also makes me feel appreciative for what I have back here. Um, I also pictured in my head what it must be like to have no boots and have to wear the same clothes every single day, and how dirty and disgusting that must be. But and also in the story, I didn't understand why a lot of the women had kids when they really couldn't afford it too much. It's just like another mouth to feed, and that's hard to do back in the Depression, I was sure. So I don't understand why they had so many kids and wanted a big family. Um, I like the fact that Frank McCourt, the author, changed the tone throughout the book. Um, Throughout the chapters, he made it sad in pretty much the majority of the book, but there were also moments where there was funny parts. Like my favorite part was when Alfie peed on Aunt Aggie, because I thought of that in my head, just a fat woman, freaking out, and I thought that was hilarious. Or when the priest farting in his sleep, that was a funny moment too. Um, I also noticed that in their daily life, this kind of relates to America in a way, that there's a lot of stealing, diseases, beggars, loss of jobs or no jobs at all. So times were really tough back then, and they are now. So um, that's basically it. That's all I have. So thank you again, Mrs. Kaminsky, for showing us this book, and I hope you show it to the kids in the future. Thank you.